Welcome to Revenue Growth Live with Darrell Amy. You're about to join an interactive forum where business executives, sales professionals, and marketing leaders share ideas to accelerate growth. While you are here, make sure to like or subscribe to get notifications for future episodes. You're encouraged to get involved in today's live conversation by liking and commenting. Now, let's join Darrell Amy for fresh ideas and innovative strategies to help you grow your business faster.
Good morning and welcome back to Revenue Growth Live. Darrell Amy, growth architect, helping great companies grow so they can give. And what a day. This has been an incredible day. I've been up since 3:30 this morning. We got the call from our oldest daughter, and at 5 a.m. today, our grandson was born. So it has been an eventful day, and even more so, our grandson was born over Zoom. So this is the new way. It was live streaming, and so it was really cool to get there, to be there to experience that. And here you are. We're live streaming. It's not quite as eventful. I don't know if there's any babies going to be born on the Revenue Growth Live today. However, hopefully some new ideas are born. And that's the whole goal of Revenue Growth Live, is to bring you fresh, relevant ideas to help you grow your company. We'll talk about marketing tactics, sales strategies, and all of the above. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you're joining us live, love to hear from you on chat. If you are joining later and watching this, love to have a shout out in whatever platform you're listening in on, whether that's LinkedIn or our YouTube live page or Facebook Live, all of the above. Hey, it's a great day around here. I feel like I should be passing out some cigars. But one thing I am excited to announce, let me just share this. This is coming at you on Wednesday. So that's tomorrow at 12 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. 12 p.m. Central Standard Time is the Revenue Growth Engine web class on how to set revenue growth goals in an uncertain market. How many of you would agree this is an uncertain market? So we're going to be talking together about how to set revenue growth goals in an uncertain market. I've got a framework I'm very excited to share with you that's working for many companies to be able to set goals. You know, when it comes to setting revenue goals, and we're here in December, this is the time of year when one of the things we get to do, in addition to closing out the year, is set goals. Most companies set goals based on what I call the ruler method. We just take the ruler out and we look at the last couple of years and we go, okay, hey, we grew 10% the year before, 8% the year before that. What do y'all think we can do this year? Well, guess what? The ruler for a lot of companies, let's see, here we go, in the post-COVID environment is after this year, the ruler for many companies is pointing not up and to the right, but down and to the left. The trend is not our friend right now. So what can we do to set goals in this environment? That's exactly what I want to address in this web class on Wednesday. It's going to last no longer than an hour. If you can't come live at 12 Central, I guess that would be 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Pacific. If you can't come live, if you're overseas, no worries. Just sign up for the web class as well. I'll put the link here in the chat, and we'll get you the recording. I want to make sure that you head into next year very confident in your ability to set realistic goals. I call them aggressive but realistic goals. And I just had a great conversation this morning with an organization in the Midwest that is saying, Darrell, we've got some big goals for the year to come. How are we going to hit them? And so we are working with them to develop a revenue growth plan. And that's exactly, it's exactly what we all need to be doing right now, is thinking strategically about what are we going to do in the year to come to hit our goals. Couple other shouts out on Revenue Growth Live today. If you've hung out with me at all on the Revenue Growth podcast, one of the folks that you've met is my friend Jim Carr. Let's get this in the focus here. Jim Carr is the message man. He is the man for getting a message and coaching people how to drive conversation. He's the author of The Science of Customer Connections. And I got to hang out with Jim yesterday afternoon. Huge shout out to Jim. And a shout out to Douglas Burdett on the Marketing Book Podcast. If you got to listen to that episode, Jim punked me at the beginning of the episode, which was really fun. He logged into the podcast live and asked me to return his weed eater and some other tools. A little bit of a joke, but Jim and I got a face-to-face yesterday. Thanks for signing your book, by the way. And we had a great conversation about not only creating a relevant message, but making sure that everybody that's customer facing in your organization has the ability to drive that message in conversations with clients, prospects and clients, so that we're all driving the same message. So definitely check out, this is a book. If you see my copy here, it is dog-eared, highlighted. So huge shout out to Jim. I think when you buy this book, you probably need to get at least one fresh highlighter because you're gonna definitely get some ideas out of The Science of Customer Connections. So really like that book. And also just want to give a huge shout out as well to the Revenue Growth Podcast. We had a fantastic guest last week. I got to talk with none other than, let's pull it up right here, Darrell Amy. Darrell was talking about the evolving role of Chief Revenue Officer. Now, you may be listening to this going, Darrell, we're not a Fortune 500 company. We don't have a Chief Revenue Officer. Well, it doesn't matter if you have a Chief Revenue Officer or not. The mindset behind that position that companies are adding, and it was interesting, in 2018, there was roughly 19% of Fortune 1000 companies had a Chief Revenue Officer. 2019, that went from 19% up to 31% of companies in the Fortune 1000 space have a Chief Revenue Officer. That number, I'm curious to see what it ends up being for 2020. But the reality is companies at the Fortune 1000 level are waking up to the reality that it's not about sales, it's not about marketing, it's about driving revenue growth. That's the end result. So having a position in the organization that acknowledges, this isn't about sales, it isn't about marketing, it's about revenue, and how do we align marketing and sales to drive revenue growth? It doesn't matter if you're a Fortune 1000 company or whether you're a mid-sized company, a mom and pop, or a solopreneur. Regardless of what size company you are, the mindset is exactly the same. The mindset is saying, what do we need to do to grow revenue? Begin with the end in mind. Tip of the hat to Stephen Covey. What do we need to do to grow revenue? And so now we start with that, start with the goal and work backwards, which is exactly why I've put together this web class. Another shameless plug for the web class for those who are just joining in. I put this web class together because I want you to be able to begin with the end in mind. And at the end of this web class, not only are you going to discover a framework for setting goals beyond the ruler method, not only are you going to see the power of setting goals that are aggressive but realistic, but I want you to also get clarity on the revenue potential of your business. If you look at your business through the lens of the two drivers of growth, you begin to get clarity on what's the potential here, what's possible in terms of net new revenue and in terms of driving revenue in our client base by cross-selling more to our current clients. So all of that is going to be happening on Wednesday. Now, once again, for those of you who are just joining, I'm a little bit scattered today. I got woken up at 3:30 a.m. this morning to find out that our grandson was on his way, and he was born at 5. So I've had quite a day. One of the other things, and this is going to tee up our conversation here in the remaining time that we have together. Over this past weekend, I moved last year, and I've had all of my books in boxes, which has driven me crazy because I love books. I think that books are a fantastic way to continue to grow, to engage your mind. And so I've learned a lot from fantastic books like The Science of Customer Connections and many other ones that we've talked about on the podcast. However, what was funny that I want to share today is as I was unpacking, I found some of my books from college. So this is great, right? So here we go. This is Basic Marketing by Jerome McCarthy and William Perot Jr. And this is Marketing 101 from my college experience. And oh, look at this. This is just classic. Look at these brands right here. Just beautiful. Apple, Minolta, Quaker, just branding 101. And what I love about this, and I think I'm going to I pulled these off the shelf because I think what I'm going to do is read through and just audit this book and see what's relevant and what's not. But the interesting thing about all of this is what I'm reminded of is when, here we go. How about that? There's an ad for good old Lee Iacocca. There's a blast from the past, right? And, the cool thing, I'm looking forward to auditing this book and also this book here. This is the other one I pulled off the shelf. This is from my first textbook for selling. You go, there's a textbook for selling? Well, apparently, yes, there's a textbook for selling. I took a sales class in college, and there it is. Look at that. I'm really looking forward to auditing through these books and figuring out what's changed and what stayed the same. What's changed and what's stayed the same. Here's the deal. There's stuff in this book, these two books here, and I'm sure if you went to business school, you've got a shelf full of these textbooks, or maybe you sold them back. I like to keep them just as souvenirs that I made it through. There's some fundamentals that will never change, and then there's some things that will always change. I graduated from university with my business degree. It's right over my shoulder, right there. Business and political science. I graduated in 1993. Anyone remember what happened in 1993? 1993 was the year that Al Gore invented the internet. Well, tongue in cheek, it was actually the year that Netscape invented the browsers. The internet had been around since the late 60s, but someone actually made it easy to use. And so I stepped out of business school with all kinds of knowledge about the principles of marketing and the principles of selling, but the practice was about to change dramatically. And I've been a part, and I think no matter where you are in your career, because of the rapid change in the marketplace right now, we've all been a part of an incredible accelerating evolution of practice. 1993, we were talking about websites. Then we talked about search engines. And then we talked about social. And then we talked about an email was somewhere in there, right? Then we talked about inbound marketing and content marketing. And then we talked about account-based marketing and social selling. I mean, selling's gone along that journey as well of technology impacting the practice of what we do. But the principles behind it are the things that are bedrock that never change. And I think one of the good things to do, and I'm looking forward to doing this as I surf back through these books, and they're pretty thick. They're actually quite entertaining because as I've been flipping through these books, you can tell when they were written. Now, keep in mind, for me, it was 1993 when I graduated. The good thing about these books is they actually have pictures in them. But the hilarious thing about these books is how incredibly dated they are. Look at that. Remember that was back in the 90s when we had face-to-face meetings. Back in the 90s when we wore blue suits to work and all of that. We could laugh at this. Oh, here we go. Here's a good 1990s sales pitch, right? That guy's got his site seller, not even a laptop or iPad. Look, Here's the deal. And I want us to really think about this, because I think this is critical. Whether you're in marketing, whether you're in sales, whether you run a company, the question is, what are the timeless principles in our marketing and sales strategy that will never change? And what are practices? It's no different than a company, going, what's our organizational values versus, our tactics to go to market. Values never change. The way we go about doing things always changes. This is a great question for all of us in marketing and sales. Our core principles never change. The approach changes. And I was just on a meeting right before this with another client that, they have a goal. They want to become the thought leader, the go-to company in the space that they work in, to generate. They want to first be that go-to company, and then obviously they want to get people into their client experience. And so, what's the the method to do that right now? Well, it's different than it was 15 years ago. 15 years ago, or 30 years ago, back when this book was published, it probably involved direct mail. It probably involved something very different than what it would involve today. Now, today, we're looking at that, and we're looking at email. We're looking at retargeting ads. We're looking at social media, all as ways. The principle is the same. We want to educate our clients to be regarded as the go-to thought leader in the marketplace. The practice is going to continue to evolve. Yeah, that company had been using email for years, but the reality is there's so many other practices around social advertising, retargeting ads. For example, just they're also looking at smart calls to action on the website. Doesn't matter. The practice is the practice. That's always going to be shifting and evolving. The principles, though, are things that we have to always hold on to. So that's my reminder as I look at these old textbooks. Part of me looks at these and says, wow, I feel like a dinosaur. But the reality is there's stuff in these thick books that are principles that never change. There are practices that always are going to change. And I think as we head into a new year, we've just been through this year of pivot, of virtual selling, of all of the craziness around trying to figure out whatever industry you're in, how you're going to navigate revenue growth in this environment. We're heading into a new year. Some stuff's going to go back to normal. Some things are going to be a new normal. I think something that'd be really helpful to think of during the month of December is, what are the foundational principles of revenue growth in our business that will never change? What are the things that, are foundational that we can bring to all of the tactics to make sure that we're executing on the foundation? Just like a company has values, the values stay the same. The execution strategy changes. What are your marketing and sales principles, core principles, your core beliefs? And over the coming weeks, maybe we'll unpack some of those here on Revenue Growth Live. So thanks for joining me today. I want to encourage everybody, come join me on Wednesday. That's tomorrow at 12 o'clock Central Time. I've got I have some exciting news to share during that web class, but also the mindset of how to set revenue goals in an uncertain market. I know many of you are going to really benefit from that. And that goes for you, whether you own a company or whether you run a sales territory, you're in sales, whether you're marketing. All of us who are responsible for revenue are going to really appreciate the ideas in this class. And I'm really excited to share them with you. So let's grab onto that. Go register right now. You can put the link here in the chat, revenuegrowthengine.net. The link's right across the top of the webpage. While you're there, if you have not yet grabbed a copy of Revenue Growth Engine, once you register for the class, there'll be an option for me to send you a copy of Revenue Growth Engine. Just pay shipping and handling. I'll get an autographed copy on its way to you. And all of it is around the goal that we set at the beginning. How can we help great companies grow revenue. So I will see you tomorrow on Wednesday, December 9th at 12 o'clock Central Time for how to set revenue growth goals in an uncertain market. If you're not there live, I'll see you on the recording, and I'll be back here on Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Pacific for Revenue Growth Live. And until then, let's get going and let's get growing.